afternoon, everyone. Today's Thursday, July 6th, 2023. We're here for a regular scheduled town board meeting, and as always, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I was going to begin, but then, Tim, can you take the lead, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. And Frank, do we have someone from the Our Faith community with us today?
We do. We have the Reverend Mother Mary Cooper from the House of Praise Christian Revival Center. We're always happy to have her here in the building. Thank you for coming. Please come up and lead us through invocation.
Good afternoon.
Mary, just bring the mic down a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yes, yeah,
Use the mic,
How's
please.
that?
so we can hear. I want everybody to hear you.
Oh, okay.
There's millions of people watching.
Oh, wow. So many people. Okay, would you please stand then?
Hi.
Father, we pray that those who are committed to the service of our communities and town for our heritage be given the ability and wisdom to defend our liberties and to unite the multitudes of many kindreds and tongues. Endow our elected officials with the spirit of sound minds, that there may be justice and peace. We thank you for this season of celebrations, and we ask you to bless all who are here this afternoon. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
Reverend. Thank you, Frank. Okay, I hope everyone had a pleasant 4th of July holiday weekend, and the celebration was attended by many, many people, and there's all types of activities. The new town square location is buzzing around with people and children and family events, and it was pretty spectacular. And the fireworks display, I know Tim got a nice view of it. It was spectacular.
It was beautiful.
And once again, thank you to the BID and to all those who helped, including the chamber putting this event together. And we're going to move on forward, and we can I have a first and a second to approve the town board minutes? It was from the special town board meeting on June 15th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Diane, can you please take the vote?
Kern.
Yes.
Bayron.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
And Diane, can you please read the communications and the figures if we have any?
Yes, under correspondence, Joseph Hartman, Chief of the Riverhead Fire District, submitted a letter in response to comments on the January 25th fire on Pulaski Street. Anne-Marie Minicucci sent a letter in opposition to Cargill Airport. Let me speak this way. Terry Montgomery sent a letter in opposition to the Riverhead Cider House site plan approval. Actually, that letter was going to the planning board. Deb Ruprecht sent a letter requesting to reject Calverton projects. Lyndon Namath sent a letter in opposition to Riverhead Cider House site plan approval. Also, that was a letter to the planning board. Robert Skinner, a letter in opposition to Carmick Bay special permit application, and that was the public hearing on the Jamesport Manor. Karen Kemp sent a letter with concerns of the development at EPCAL. Sally Mackin, letter of opposition to special permit application of Diamond Estate. Charles Cuddy sent a letter regarding the special permit of Jamesport Manor, Diamond Estate. James Farley sent a letter regarding the special permit of Jamesport Manor, Diamond Estate. And then the Heart of Riverhead Civic Association sent a letter requesting local civics as stakeholder groups in the comprehensive plan. Under reports, the building department submitted their June monthly report, $208,717.01. Tax receiver total tax collection to date as of June 21st, $171,120,188.72. Town clerk June monthly report, $13,435.19. And that's it.
All right, pretty comprehensive. Thank you, Diane. We have 3 public hearings scheduled for today. The first one was scheduled for 2 o'clock, and the time now is 2:12. And we are now going to open a public hearing for consideration of the construction of a new ground storage tank at East Wind Drive in Wading River. For this, we're gonna have our water superintendent who's here with us, Frank Mancini, to give us a brief overview of this much-needed infrastructure improvement project. And Frank, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Supervisor. Thank you. I'm Frank Mancini, the Water District Superintendent. So as she stated, this is the public hearing for the construction of a new 2.5 million gallon ground storage tank we're going to put in Wading River, which resides in our high zone. We're going to start with Dan Barker, our outside counsel, doing a brief summary of the map and plan. And we've been working on this for 2 years. We're doing this differently than we had in the past. I want to thank him and Anne Marie Prudente and Finance, Bill Rothar, for helping me get this done.
Okay, welcome, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. As Mr. Mancini said, my name's Dan Barker. I'm with the law firm of Smith Finkelstein. We're outside counsel to the Riverhead Water District. I'm going to give a brief overview, and please feel free to interrupt me if you would like. The Riverhead Water District has identified the need for additional source and storage capacity to aid the district in meeting peak day and fire flow demands, as well as comply with recommended industry standards. The district currently maintains less than the recommended available storage capacity by the regulatory standards. The district seeks to eliminate this deficit by constructing a new 2.5 million gallon pre-stressed concrete ground storage tank with accompanying booster facility at a new site on East Winds Drive in Wading River. The new tank will not only cover current demands, but will provide some, albeit limited, future demands, be it related to expansion of existing sites, development projects, or new development within the district, or projects requiring district extension, all which would be subject to a purchase agreement by and between developer or property owner and the district for remaining excess capacity in the ground storage tank. The cost to construct the new storage facility with land acquisition, evaluation thereof, engineering fees, and contingencies is estimated at $6.56 million. A Town of Riverhead-owned parcel on East Winds Drive, a portion of which is utilized by the Highway Department, has been identified as a potential location. The district, as I think you will hear later, the district proposes to transfer a 6.0 acre district-owned property in exchange for approximately 2.5 acres unimproved and not used for town highway purposes of a 4.5 acre town-owned lot. The transaction would be subject to permissive referendum and applicable public hearing requirements. Now, just to go in a little more detail on the funding of the project, I mentioned that $6.56 million number. The funding of this project will have very little impact on the ratepayers of the water district. To fund the capital costs associated with the construction of the tank, the town has secured funding through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 and has designated $2 million towards the construction of the tank. In addition, the remainder of the funds necessary for the new ground storage tank, designed with capacity to address present and future demands related to the expansion of development, as I mentioned, with approval from the town board, shall be used from the district available fund balance, and such funds to be repaid by purchase agreements by and between developers and property owners and the district for the sale and purchase of available excess capacity in the ground storage tank, and that's pursuant to the relevant town law, sections 192A, 198, 202B, and the various applicable comptroller opinions and case law precedent. As set forth in the map and plan, which is on file in the town clerk's office, a portion of the tank and its storage capacity shall be reserved to the district and its ratepayers. The excess capacity shall be made available for sale on a first-come, first-served basis and shall be calculated on the cost of construction for the tank, including land value, construction of tank, booster station, approval, permits to operate, and if deemed necessary, improvements to supply well divided by gallonage demand. All monies shall be reimbursed to the district fund balance. Just very briefly on the environmental impact of this project, it does not meet or exceed the thresholds of a type 1 project and cannot be defined as a type 2 action. So therefore, it is considered an unlisted action as an exhibit to the map and plan, and in accordance with New York SECRA procedures, a short form and environmental assessment form has been included with the map and plan, and it's been determined that the project represents an unlisted action. And after due deliberation of the Water District's consultants, they've determined that the project will have little to no environmental impact and therefore requires no further review. Just in conclusion, before I let Mr. Mancini add some comments, and in short, the consultants and engineers of the Riverhead Water District have recommended in that map and plan, in order to place the district in a more permanently reliable position regarding its source water and storage systems, they are recommending that the new 2.5 million gallon pre-stressed concrete ground storage tank and booster pumping facility be constructed at the East Winds Drive site. This 2.5 million gallon tank will help the district to meet its peak day demands while new source points can be evaluated. The total estimated capital cost for the installation of the new tank at East Winds Drive is, as I said, $6.56 million, with $2 million coming from the grant money, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, and I'll let Mr.
Okay.
Mancini add whatever comments he feels appropriate.
Does anyone have any specific questions?
Yeah, okay, so let me do that. We're gonna get the public first, and then we'll get the
Okay.
board. It'll flow a little bit better. So do we have anybody from the public here that want to come forward to add any comments on this to this public hearing? Okay, do we have anybody online? We don't have. Does the board care to add to it?
Frank, this is just water storage, right? This isn't a well.
No, you're right, exactly. It's nearly identical to the tank we built on Tuttle Lane in Jamesport, which is in our low zone there, and that really helped that out. That's why we were able to take Tank 58 and Plant 5 down to work on them, because that tank was there to supply that. This tank is going to be here, and it's going to play a similar role. This is Wading River, which is our biggest problem area. We have a tank up there, and we struggle to keep that filled on days like today. And we have our water authority interconnections here, where we're forced to buy water for them sometimes that we buy for more than we sell it. So this is that's bad for our ratepayers. This is going to resolve that problem. And like Dan explained, what's really unique about this is how we're financing it and the ability to sell the capacity off to development projects. So we anticipate recouping the district's fund balance. And, I think this is not only where our problem area is now, it's also where a lot of the development that may potentially land in Riverhead resides. So this is the type of planning we need to do to not get caught behind the eight ball and not have the capacity that we need to supply what we have now and what may potentially develop in the future.
Okay, and Frank, I just have a question. I'm not sure if that information, the information I'm requesting is available at the moment, but that's gonna obviously increase our water capacity, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how much, or?
Well, as far as it's, when they're in the media, you'll often hear Riverhead Water District lacks its storage and capacity. This is gonna resolve that issue for now, but as we get bigger, we anticipate developing, I think we're gonna need 2 additional well fields developed somewhere on the western end of Riverhead, which I'm working on 2 locations now, but this is going to be the biggest step forward in resolving that issue.
Right.
We're not quite done because we anticipate our demand growing with the growth of the town, but I don't think we'll build another tank after this.
Okay. So again, the starter money this board decided to take the American Rescue Fund, and actually decided to put more than half of it. I think we received 3.67, something along that line, million, and we only used 1.6 for our finances in town, and we gave it to the water, which is one of the areas that we can enhance. So I think your startup money came from the American Rescue, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we're thankful for that, very
Yeah,
much
well,
so.
it's this entire board that decided to do that, and I headed the committee where the funds were going, and so we went forward with that, and it's good to see that it's finally materializing. Just be aware that that fund has to be used by December, I believe it's 2025.
Yep,
So
we
that
are
money
aware.
has to be already, the contracts, whatever you're doing, has to be done, because that money does expire.
Yep.
We don't want to lose it.
We're going to do it in two separate contracts because of that, and we
Okay.
did it on the first tank too. So already I've got H2M putting together the cement tank portion of
Okay.
that. So we're going to construct the cement tank. That should happen relatively quickly. And then the booster station and controls is much more complex, and that takes a little bit longer to develop. That'll be a separate contract.
Okay. No one online? No one, yes? Sure. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Marilyn Banks Winter. I'm indigenous to this land of Riverhead. And I just wanted a quick question to the contractors. You said that the tank, the cement tank is foolproof, but we know that composites do, oh, I hear feedback. They do break down. So how can you ensure to the town board and to the town that, it won't break down? And part two is that in your contract, do you have it where you're going to provide maintenance to, the well?
Okay, those are good questions. It's a cement ground storage tank, pre-stressed, like Dan said. So this is not new technology. We own one of these already, and it's the go-to water supply strategy on the whole East End. So like, say, Suffolk County Water's been building one of these every 2 years. They have an identical tank on Laurel Hill Lane, just east of us. So I'm comfortable that this type of engineered structure is proven, and it's not some kind of new technology. This contract doesn't include any future maintenance. A tank like this, unlike a steel tank, doesn't have to be painted every 20 years or so. So probably every decade or so, we'll pressure wash the algae that'll grow on it. But we don't anticipate much maintenance on this. I know of tanks in water systems that have been around for over 50 years. Nothing lasts forever, but I would expect the life expectancy of this tank to be 50 to 100 years. Like a lot of our facilities, we might replace the guts of our plants, but wells and the type of facilities we build are designed to last something like 50 to 100 years. And I see this tank as no different than that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, just one more quick question, statement. Because we know that even with the underground infrastructure, we want to make sure that there's checks and balances, although, I'm a contractor. So although, no one can ensure, the life expectancy of this. So I'm just thinking maybe you can add something in your contract to the town that you'll have some sort of maintenance, not just the algae spray or that sort, but if there's cracks, that something is monitored underground so that it doesn't collapse, similar to a sewage tank, underground. So that's just my quick
Okay.
question.
Thank you.
Well, one thing I didn't cover is in our contract, there is a maintenance and performance bond. So a year after it's finally done, there's essentially a warranty. So say a leak develops in the first couple of years, they come and fix that. Now, 50 years from now, if a car drives into it, we would have to fix it. But all of our contracts include that type of coverage where the product is essentially guaranteed by the person who builds it for a length of time, depending on what that structure is. So if there's some kind of unforeseen flaw in it, they come and fix it. When
So
they get poured, they do leak a little bit, and then you fix all the holes, just having done this before. It's a pretty cool project. They build the forms on site. Each site is essentially custom put together, and then they wrap it with cable and then shotcrete it. It's built like a bunker.
Well, that's good to hear, that
Yeah.
making sure when you build an infrastructure that you have warranty to it.
Yeah.
So we're not held responsible and lose our asset, especially when you're talking over $6 million.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do that's a bigger bang for the buck than this. It would be
Yeah.
easier for me if it was a 2 million gallon elevated tank, but that would cost
Yeah.
$15 million.
Okay,
So we're doing this.
yeah, we're gonna stop that. There's no more ARPA money coming.
No.
You took more than half of my money.
I know, we're thankful for that.
All right, yes.
Frank, unrelated, the water tower on 58 that's being repainted, any
Yeah.
estimate as to when that might be completed?
So maybe you might have
Looks
noticed.
like a
the-
huge parachute right
Yes,
now.
it's made out of parachute material. In fact, that was a big delay to get that. So now that you see it up, that means they're blasting it right now. So we changed the way we were gonna do that project. We were gonna do what's the water cavity, the round part this year, but because we couldn't get that in the blasting media, we put the CERT tank back online because we needed it, and the contractor agreed to blast the legs and wires. So anytime you see that shroud up, it's actually being blasted and primed first with a zinc coating. That we anticipate, when we're done this with the pumping season this summer, we're gonna empty that tank and we're gonna do the inside and outside water cavity, which is the round part that holds all the water. And we anticipate that project being completed by the spring of next year, before next summer's pumping season. And it'll cost about $2.6 million just for the paint job.
Can it be painted with water in it, or it has to be empty?
Only
to be-
the dry parts, the legs and the cables, but not the water cavity because it sweats.
That's what I was thinking,
And
yeah, that
so
it would be
inside
wet.
that, we use what are called hobo data loggers, that we measure temperature and humidity and can only apply the painting products under the right environmental conditions. So now that it's gonna get hot and hazy, you may not see the shroud up as much, but because this is a coating system, not a paint job, so between the blasting and the application of the coating, all those parameters are monitored, and we only do it when the conditions are right.
All right, here's the
Interesting.
$1 million question. Is there anything gonna be printed on the tower?
Well, good question, because that's for you guys. So when
How
we
about
get
an
further,
American flag and then Riverhead water?
in our contract, we have a riverhead to be painted on the side. But I'm gonna ask you guys, probably email you in a month or two when we get closer to, we don't have to think about that until we paint the water cavity. I would say we should, you know?
We should
It's-
have something up
Yeah.
there. Something
in our-
symbolic, maybe our symbol, an American flag, right, the Riverhead logo.
It's too complicated, it gets more expensive, but that's up for you guys. We have at a minimum, Riverhead written across it. But
Okay.
if you want something different, we can ask
I
the
want to add a
contractor
little
how much
something.
that costs.
Just add something, a
I think-
logo, or whatever.
It's up to you guys.
Hopefully, well, the board will decide.
Yeah, think about it,
Okay,
because I think we definitely should do something on it.
yeah.
It's kind of a cool location. All right, any
It
other
is.
questions or anything?
No one again, Les, from the public, nobody online? Does the board want to continue to add anyone? Are we okay with this? Okay, so
I
we're
think
gonna
it's
move.
great, because we're buying water from Suffolk County in different parts, at different times of the year. Now we will not be doing that. It's my understanding that we also pay more for the water than we sell it for from Suffolk County. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
It's correct, so we are very vigilant in when that happens, but
Yeah.
as I told some of you guys today, we had our largest well go down in the high zone at 3:30 this morning, so it just was restored and it's back online, but had that well not got back online, we would be forced to buy water from the Water Authority until that well was returned to service. So we were
Okay.
able to mitigate that and fix that in a day, but, you know, we don't plan those failures, and it could have been 2 weeks.
And you see what's happening up west. There are towns there that want the people asking for the town to take back their water because of the
Yeah.
expensive water. And I think that we're fortunate here in Riverhead to have our own water. We need to protect that.
Yes, and it is very expensive,
All right,
and we apologize for that, but we do it cheaper than anybody, so.
well, because we have our own water district.
Yes. All right, thank you guys so much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Enjoy. Okay, we're now going to close the public portion section of this hearing. The time is 2:30, and we're going to leave it open for written comments until 4:30 PM on July 14th, 2023, at the town clerk's office.
These are the two things
Yeah. That's gonna be next. Okay, next, we're going to open a public hearing for the consideration of the transfer of town property. This is an internal transfer between the water district and the highway department. I'm going to ask Deputy Town Attorney Anne Marie Pedenti to overview this for us, and we haven't seen you here for a while. You took a break from us?
No comment.
No comment.
This essentially, you heard it discussed during the last public hearing. This is a Riverhead Water District, believe it or not. They own the property that is utilized by the Highway Department for its offices and highway yard. That's 6.1 acres. The town of Riverhead owns the Wading River property, which is improved as the Wading River Highway Yard. The Highway Department only utilizes about 2 acres of that 4.5 acre site, and H2M and the Water District Superintendent investigated and determined that 2.5 acres of that site located in the high zone is an appropriate location for the above-ground storage tank. So this is essentially a simple transfer of the properties.
Okay. Sounds pretty simple. It's interagency property exchange, so.
Correct. It is subject to permissive referendum requirements because it involves special district property and a transfer of it.
Right, okay. But, good. Anyone from the public want to comment? Do we have anyone online? Does the board want to respond in any fashion?
This is easy.
It's a really simple one, isn't it?
They were all like this.
Yeah, right? Simple. Okay, so the time now is 2:33. We're going to close this public portion section of the hearing, and we're going to leave it open for written comments until 4:30 p.m. on July 14, 2023, at the town clerk's office. Okay, on to our last and the third public hearing for today. It was scheduled for 2:10. The time is now 2:33. And we're opening a public hearing for consideration of a lateral water main extension for the Suffolk Theater addition. Once again, we have our water superintendent, Frank Mancini, here to discuss this further. Frank, welcome back.
Okay, thanks for having me back. Okay, this is a slightly different area of town, downtown. Like a lot of the other developments you see downtown, we agreed to service this new, not only the expansion of the theater, but they're adding a 5-story apartment building on the back of it. So the services are to be fed off of a 100-year-old 6-inch pipe in the back. So as a condition of us serving this, we said to the developer, you're required to just replace that part, but we can't make them replace more than they need. So in this case, the district's going to kick in some money. We're going to go from 6-inch to 8-inch to anticipate further development in that area, because we don't want to do this twice. So I think that's a good decision for us. That's basically it.
Okay, that's not a very difficult one either. Any comment from the public? No one? Board?
Nope.
Another easy one, okay. So we're going to close this public hearing. Time is now 2:35, and we're going to leave it open until 4:30 p.m. on July 23rd, 2023, at the town clerk's office. Okay, so we're going to move on. All right, so we concluded all our public hearings for today, and now we're going to open it up for open comments on the resolutions before us. So only on the resolutions before us. Does anyone want to come forward? Do we have anyone online on any other comment on the resolution? It's not? All right, there's something wrong here.
It's a pretty generic schedule.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing on here.
So hearing no one from online, no one from the public and the board, Diane, can you please call the resolutions for today?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Resolution 488.
Sewer District Capital Project Number 82230, Car Wash Budget Adjustment. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 489.
Water District Capital Project 82319, Merritt's Creek Townhouses Budget Adoption. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 490.
Appoints a call-in park attendant, 2, to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 491.
Appoints a call-in recreation leader to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 492.
Appoints a call-in recreation aide 1 to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 493.
Appoints a seasonal beach attendant to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 494.
Appoints a seasonal beach attendant to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 495.
Appoints a seasonal beach manager to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 496.
Appoints a seasonal water safety instructor to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 497.
Appoints a seasonal water safety instructor to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 498.
Appoints a seasonal registered nurse to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 499.
Ratifies the appointment of a seasonal lifeguard to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 500.
Appoints a call-in recreation aide to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
He's doing a lot of hiring in preparation for this summer season.
Yeah, I see that.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 501.
Promotes a senior building inspector. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes. Congratulations to Andreas. He does a
Yes.
great job for us.
Aguiar.
Yes. Keep up the good work.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 502.
Amends a portion of Resolution 2023-354, adopted on May 17, 2023, and sets salary scale for seasonal head lifeguard beach manager. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 503.
Amends terms for John Flynn, Assistant Water District Superintendent. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 504.
Accepts the retirement of a wastewater treatment plant operator 2. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Congratulations to Sean on his retirement. He spent many years with us, and best of luck to him. Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes. Best of luck.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 505.
Amends resolution number 2023-430. So moved.
And second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 506.
Rescinds Resolution 2023-401, which appointed a homemaker to the Senior Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 507.
Establishes standard workday for elected and appointed officials. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 508.
That's probably me. Hang on. Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post bid for large meter replacements for the Riverhead Water District. That's for you, Frank. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 509.
Extends bid nunc pro tunc for charter buses. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yeah.
Resolution adopted.
Yes.
Resolution 510.
Rejects bid for the residential solid waste collection and disposal service for the Riverhead Refuse and Garbage District. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 511.
Ratifies award of bid for disposal and recycling of municipal solid waste. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 512.
Approves fireworks application for Bating Hollow Country Club, July 15th, 2023. So moved.
I'm going to say second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 513.
Give me 1 minute, and I'm going to go to the paper.
I know, there's a lot of paper there.
There's a lot of...
There's a lot.
513 ratifies the approval of the fireworks application for Riverhead bid. So moved.
And
Thank you.
seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 514.
Approves firework application for Jamesport Fire Department, July 22nd, 2023. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
You know it's summertime when the Jamesport Fire Department is having their fireworks. Absolutely is.
And what
And the
coincides?
parade and
The carnival.
the carnival.
The carnival is
Yep.
coming up very soon, in a couple of weeks. It's always a great time. One of their best assets, food is the sausage sandwich. It's known all over Suffolk County. So hope to see you there, and thank you, Jamesport Fire Department, for everything you do. Obviously, I vote yes.
Okay, resolution adopted. Resolution 515.
Approves special event Chapter 255 application for Jamesport Fire Department Firemen's Annual Bazaar Carnival. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes, and that's going to be between July 18th, 2023, and July 22nd, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 11, but we'll make an announcement. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 516.
16. Yep.
Approve special event chapter 255 application for Chicken Kids consignment sale, which is always great. So moved.
Seconded.
It's so great, 3 years in a row. They're easily able to hold their event. It's such an important community event, so
It is a
absolutely.
great event.
Yes, and it just helps so many parents, so many people, so much work that goes into that.
It's such a good way to recycle,
Yeah.
Gently
absolutely.
used.
gently used baby equipment and such, and at the
The
cost
mothers
of
need
things.
it, and it helps financially, and,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes, and thank you to the Polish Hall for hosting it every year.
Yes.
They have such a
Yeah.
great facility,
Yeah.
but yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Absolutely.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 517.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute covenants and restrictions for Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-01400-1000-48.000. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 518.
Grant special permit, 740 Main Road, to establish a professional medical office. 740 Main Road, Aquabog, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-67-2-16.4. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 519.
Grant special permit for 120 Edwards Avenue, Do Well propane storage facility. 120 Edwards Avenue, Calverton, Suffolk County, tax map number 600-137-1-7. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 520.
Resolution to authorize lease landfill to CDE North America, Inc., subject to permissive referendum. Thank you, Anne Marie. So moved.
Seconded.
This is such a great idea. It's like repurposing land that's been-
Finally, the $40 million debacle on the dump or a landfill is going to now be replaced with solar, which will bring in
Funds.
roughly $10 million over the course of the deal to the town of Riverhead.
And I know 2 years ago, you started on this,
Yeah.
well, a year
We're
and a
there.
half ago.
We're there.
So you're there, and finally, and I know the town attorney's office, there was a contract, and you worked with that. so
And
thank you.
Ken Tester, thank you very much, engineering.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 521.
Yeah, that's gotta be me.
this agreement.
Thank you. Authorizes supervisor to execute an addendum to the temporary use license agreement with Island Exterior Fabricators. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 522.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a public notice for a public hearing regarding an alleged unsafe structure located at 16 Doris Avenue, Riverhead, Suffolk County, New York. Suffolk County Tax Map 600-105-2-45 pursuant to Chapter 217, Part 4 of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 523.
Resolution calling public hearing regarding extension of the Riverhead Sewer District to include 1418 Pulaski Street and 1535 Old Country Road, Riverhead. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 524.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice for a hearing to consider a local law to amend Chapter 263 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Rental Dwelling Units. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 525.
Designates a zoning officer. Thank you to Mr. Bergman for stepping up. Yes. So moved.
Now, congratulations, Greg. Second.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, I
Res-
think you're fully qualified, and, again, thank you for stepping up to fill that void. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 526.
Ratifies the execution of an agreement with National Development Council, NDC. So moved.
Second.
Vote,
Kern.
please.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 527.
Authorization for the supervisor to execute a stipulation with the CSEA Local 1000. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 528.
Sets terms and conditions of employment for Network and Systems Administrator. Congratulations, Chip. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, thank you, Chip, for all the work you do around here. We appreciate it.
Aguirre.
Yes, and this was long-term coming. We had to bring this employee up to par with other administrators. Fell way behind. He's been doing a great job. He's now going to be a department head reporting to the supervisor's office. And thank you for all the work, and I know you're working on the move, and I'm sure under your direction, it's going to be a smooth transition in the IT department. I vote yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 529.
Authorizes Be Ready Fishbein, Hatter, and Donovan LLP, special counsel to the Highway Department to perfect an appeal pursuant to Town Code Section 103-14C11. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, I don't
I
have
don't
showing
see it.
what you just read.
I don't
but-
have it either.
I have 529 as authorizes perfection of
Yeah.
an appeal.
Right.
All right, so let's
Oh,
take
that
care of
was-
these numbers.
The title was changed.
Devin, we
because-
gotta take care of these numbers.
The title was changed because it previously read appoints, and they're already appointed. This is a procedural resolution to authorize them under the town code to perfect an appeal of two Supreme Court decisions issued by Justice Riley earlier this year.
So how should it read?
So we
It
have
should-
two
it should-
separate?
It should read authorizes perfection of an appeal.
Oh, that's what I have.
We have two of those.
Okay, but he read something
529
different.
and 530.
He read something different.
Okay.
Right. It had been
I
changed,
read-
but he has the previous one.
Okay, so it's correct in the system.
It
Yes.
is,
If it's
yes.
correct in the system, then
It
it's,
is.
then it's fine, right? Yeah.
529 simply says authorizes perfection of an appeal.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Yes.
If it's in the
And
system.
that's what Frank finished up with, so.
Oh, okay.
Did you move it?
I don't think we did the vote. Kern.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 530.
appoints Devitt Spellman Barrett LLP. Is this the wrong one, too?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Authorize
530 says authorizes perfection of an appeal. So moved.
Second.
Is that correct in the system before I move it forward?
Yes.
Okay, correct, yes. Vote, please.
Kern,
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 531.
Pays, bills, so moved.
Oh,
Seconded.
that's Frank's. You have to let him read it.
Wait a minute. No,
But I
Mike,
have
you're
5:30 here.
5:31.
Second.
I have a 5:30 here, what's going on? The 521 was the one that we voted, that was in the system.
530, 529 talks about well, they're both the perfect and appeal. 529 and 530.
These are
531
identical, I think.
is
No,
pay
they're
the
not.
bills.
No,
530 and 530, 529?
No, there were two of these.
yeah.
There were two,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, so 29 and
there
30.
were two different parts
Oh,
to it.
they're in the system, okay.
Yes.
Vote, please. And then
And we're up
on
to
that one.
pays, bills, so that,
That's Frank's,
okay. So Kern,
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you, Diane, and this concludes our resolutions for today. And at this point, we're going to open it up for public comments on any matter. Is there anyone from the public who wish to come forward?
Do the public first.
Good afternoon.
Hello, board members. My name is Karen Kemp, and I reside in Calverton.
Okay,
CAT's proposal at EPCAL for 10 million square feet of warehousing and flex buildings is concerning. Please consider the scale of this development. A quick Google search of 10 million square feet leads to the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. Together, the towers equal 10 million square feet. This comes from the 9/11memorial.org website. It states the Twin Towers were the centerpieces of the World Trade Center complex. At 110 stories each, one World Trade Center North Tower and two World Trade Center South Tower provided nearly 10 million square feet of office space for about 35,000 people and 430 companies. Please consider the magnitude of CAT's development. CAT's proposal shares the same square footage as the Twin Towers. The size of the development in EPCAL is beyond compare. It is outlandish. A 10 million square foot development does not belong in Riverhead. As board members and stewards of the town, you have the duty to ensure that Riverhead is developed in a smart and responsible way. CAT's proposal is not smart, and more importantly, it is irresponsible. Certainly, there are other ways to benefit the town with smart and responsible development in EPCAL. Thank you.
okay, thank you
Thank
for
you.
your comments. Anyone else want to come forward? Marilyn?
Marilyn Banks Winter, Riverhead. I just want to thank the town supervisor and the board for approving our special events permit for our AAECF, which is the African American Educational and Cultural Festival Incorporated, that will be held July 15th, which is a Saturday at 3 p.m. Show starts at 3 p.m. at the Grangable Park here in Riverhead, and I just want to thank you for approving, publicly approving the special event permit. And I hope that the whole town board comes down and supports us. And I'll be coming to you for sponsorship at a later date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marilyn.
Okay, next.
Good afternoon, Madam
Good
Supervisor,
afternoon.
members of the board. My name is Barbara Blas. I live in Jamesport. First, I just wanted to ask respectfully, I understand that there's been some discussion of CAT having modified its plan that we may see when it gets to the IDA or whatnot. I guess you're the board that will be ultimately approving the site plan, and I think it might be in everyone's best interest if there is a modified plan that you invite them to a work session so we could all hear what's happening in advance of, the particular public hearing at the IDA. I think it would be in everyone's best interest if you would
Barbara, I
indulge me.
totally agree with you, and as soon
Oh, my
as it's
goodness.
available, it will be on a work session.
As soon as we
great.
can, yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's not
Okay,
available.
so I applaud the town board for considering a code amendment which would prohibit the sale, installation, rental, or delivery of any non-certified lithium-ion batteries or equipment using them in the town of Riverhead. Thank you very much for taking that step. It's laudable in light of several recent incidents and fatal fires in New York City and elsewhere. However, during the discussion of this amendment at the 629 work session, the fire marshal mentioned that fire-damaged lithium-ion batteries were transported to Eastern Environmental in Manorville. The damaged batteries, which were escorted by a hazmat team, actually caught fire while en route twice. This is hazardous waste. What's it doing coming to Riverhead? I don't understand how it was allowed into our town. Maybe the headline from New York City might have something to do with it. As battery fires mount, their sanitation department scrambles to deal with the hazardous aftermath. I am outraged that anyone would be allowed to dump their hazardous waste in our town. Did anyone look at the manifest? This is a cradle-to-grave protocol. You're supposed to know where it's coming from, where it's going, and it has to go to a Part 373 permitted site, permitted by the DEC and nobody else. Nobody in the town of Riverhead can permit a facility like that. And to their credit, Eastern Environmental has a bona fide Part 364 permit. That's to transfer the waste. That's all they are permitted to do. The receiving site has to be a DEC registered or permitted solid waste facility approved for treatment, storage, and disposal of hazardous waste. There is no such authorized receiving site in Manorville or anywhere else in the town of Riverhead or anywhere on Long Island for that matter, because we are over our sole source aquifer. So
Oh, you
can
did?
somebody,
Okay.
Go ahead, Barbara, I'm sorry.
can somebody please tell me what's happening with this hazardous waste and why it was allowed to be dumped in our town?
Yes, it's not gonna be dumped in the town.
It's there already.
Well,
It's
not-
there.
It's, Barbara,
It is delivered there,
I
sir.
know where it is.
Okay.
It's not staying there, and I've texted the fire marshal who's been on top of this and followed the entire trail to see if he can come and give you your answer, but I can tell you it's not staying there. It's moving.
It should never have been allowed
I'm
here.
not
The
saying
fire
it
mar-
should. We
I
got
just
on
want to
top of it as
clarify.
soon as we heard about it. That's what you should know. That as soon as, nobody knew about this, and as soon as we heard about it, we got on top of it.
You want to know something, Councilman Kern? I actually asked the chief of police on the way in here, what's up with that? What happened there? And could you indulge me by turning that off, because I have a couple of other things to say.
He's here, I'm gonna ask him to come over.
Yeah, let's just get some information.
It's better to come from him than from me, because
Okay.
he's been on top of it.
And Craig is permitted to deal with storage of hazardous material. It is very different from storage of hazardous waste. They are two entirely different things. And he could give them permission to store a fuel storage tank, jet fuel, all of those things. I've already contacted the DEC. It's not permitted, and it should never have been allowed. When these things are cradle to grave, you don't take a detour. You don't go, they have to have a manifest that says, here's where it came from, and as a transport facility permitted to do this under strict regulations, here's the proper disposal site. So I'm just really outraged that it took its detour in the town of Riverhead.
I think we all are, and that's why I would like him the fire marshal that's handling this, to come over here, who's Andrew Smith. I've asked him to come here.
Sure,
He's
that's great.
nearby.
I think
Okay,
it's
so we'll get
They're
the
as
next speaker.
concerned as you are.
Okay, the next
Just so you
speaker,
know.
and then when he comes in, he'll,
Well, I have a couple of other things if I might be allowed to continue.
well, this is.
I'll let somebody else speak first.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes, Barbara. It's just, anybody else want to come forward? After everybody finishes, you can come up, okay? Hi, Chief.
How you doing? I'm going to speak on behalf of the fire marshal. Ms. Glass brought that to my attention. We called in the DEC. They're going to go out and check what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do.
Okay.
And if it's not permitted here, it'll be taken right out.
All right, that's taking action. Thank you, Chief, for coming up. That's good. And that's what should be done.
My name is Ron Hariri of Aquabog. I had wished to speak regarding the site plan application and resolution relating to 740 Main Road and Aquabog. I was in the waiting room, raised my hand, and I was denied a right to comment. I then, and I've documented it because I've saved the screenshots of my comments.
Hold on, before you make the statement, was that the case?
Let me
Let's check what
continue,
I
ma'am.
did. Was that the case? Oh, he raised your hand, so you didn't ask to speak.
Right, raising the hand is not a request to speak.
Oh,
Is
it
it
could
just
be-
going to make
it
that
could
up
be
to
you
Ms.
could- you can-
Supervisor?
I am.
So let's be clear, okay? You got caught with your pants down once again.
Never, sorry.
There's a series of misstatements, false statements, misleading statements by the planning board. You knew I caught you, and you denied me the opportunity to raise it, and you denied me my First Amendment right to speak to a matter of personal importance to my property and importance to the community regarding an interpretation of the rural corridor zoning. So I would ask that you allow me to address these issues. You rescind any approval which you've made without giving me an opportunity to be heard. If you don't, I'll see you in court.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Yes or no, ma'am?
You should be addressing the entire board.
Consider my question to the board.
Okay.
Will you give me an opportunity to speak as to the resolution you adopted without giving me an opportunity to be heard regarding my property at 730 Main Road? So let's just fool the jury.
Mr. Herrera.
Mr. Hubbard,
you
will
were,
you allow me my opportunity to speak
Mr. Herrera,
on this matter?
You were heard at the public hearing. You spoke. You thereafter submitted written comments before the period closed. So you were heard on this matter.
There's additional matters that I deserve to be heard on
This is open
regarding,
comment. You can
regarding
say
the
whatever you want.
resolution, which incidentally, okay, because you tried to slip through and tried to be cute, you just released yesterday. I just saw yesterday and want to be able to comment on that. Again, you don't think raising my hand is a request to speak?
Well, you're here
I'm
now. Go
sorry.
ahead.
I don't
I'm
have the
sorry.
computer in
I
front of
went
me,
to
Mr.
public
Herrera.
school.
You're
I
here
remember
now.
when you raised your hand, you asked the teacher to call on you.
You know what?
So what
Mr.
you
Would you
did,
lower your voice, or I'm gonna ask you to leave?
you can do whatever you want,
Okay,
counsel.
that's just-
And by the way,
Just a little more civil. This is supposed to be talking to each
so
other,
let me be clear,
professional.
ma'am. What you are doing is affecting the value of my property based on materially
Make a comment
false
to the
and
board.
misleading statements contained in the staff report, as well as misleading statements contained in the resolution prepared by the planning board. I wish an opportunity to speak. So again,
You are.
let
You're
me
here.
let me poll the jury. Will you allow me an opportunity to speak as to that resolution?
You
Yes
are.
or no?
Yes, you are. This is your opportunity. Go
You
ahead.
wasted 3.5 minutes when you could have been speaking on it already.
Yeah. You have the opportunity. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would request an adjournment because the resolution was just presented yesterday in the middle of the holiday week. I've noted that the application is defective procedurally and substantively in my prior correspondence, which I adopt. But I also want to point out that this matter should have gone before the planning board. There's no evidence of any approval by the planning board, which has jurisdiction of the matter, for the town board to rule on it. I've pointed out numerous inconsistencies in the application. We don't even know who the applicant is. We now know in the latest of a series of different presentations that it's an entity called YMB Realty, which is not the applicant, never was the applicant, and all of the submissions previously submitted listing a plethora of different entities are patently defective, okay? A letter by counsel is not a proper amendment. The matter needed to be renoticed and reheard. I also want to point out that the staff report prepared by Mr. Bergman is patently misleading, doesn't describe the impacts, and I remember we've had the privilege of having Barbara Blass here, who was previously the chair of the Planning Department of River Head, pointing out how screwed up the Planning Board's actions have been over the years. I also want to point out, because I didn't point it out in my last presentation, that the Appellate Division, Second Department, last month found that this town board's agencies, the Planning and the Zoning Board, have failed to apply proper procedure, and in Andes versus Town of Riverhead Zoning Board, cited at 2023 New York Slip-Op 03009, the Second Department, the Appellate Court, criticized the Zoning Board's unexplained finding, which called the whole process, into the court's words, into question. In Andes versus Town of Riverhead Planning Board, I guess this is Mr. Bergman's bosses, the Appellate Court found the Planning Board failed to undertake the requisite review and make a reasoned determination for its conclusion. That's exactly the case here. So I just want to point out some of the points that I saw in the latest resolution, which contains a variety of statements which are not supported anywhere in the record. First of all, again, because the matter needed to go before the Planning Board, not before you, Mr. Bergman writes, well, the matter was discussed with the Planning Board and they expressed general support. That's not a formal action before the Planning Board. The Planning Board needed to take a vote. This agency, this board doesn't have jurisdiction to address it without the Planning Board's formal action on it. And, you know, the board recently suspended Mr. Bergman's predecessor for incompetence because he didn't bother to look at Sound Avenue during the pumpkin season. Well, you know, interestingly enough, Mr. Bergman thought he would get cute in his resolution, citing action taken regarding another property owned, claiming that my property at 498 Main Road is part of the rural corridor. Your planner doesn't even know the zoning map because that property is actually in the Hamlet Center, totally different standard. So what do you say when your planner can't even take the time to review a map and his resolution specifically says you've relied on his
All right, Mr. Harari.
determination? I'm not finished, ma'am. I'm just getting started.
Well, you know
Okay.
what? I'm going to...
So you
Would
can
you
do
just
whatever
tighten
you want,
it up?
ma'am.
Would you finish up your statement?
Yes, I will, okay?
Don't make accusations.
Similarly, the resolution states that coastal MD is an established practice. Where in the record is that shown? No testimony, no evidence of anything like that. And if you look at the applicant or the person in some way related to the applicant, he's been involved with the entity for 2 years. How is it an established practice? Unless maybe you guys, you know, get massages there and can testify as to what type of practice it is. Again, no evidence in the record to support that. The resolution acknowledges that the so-called practice, which is integrative health and wellness services, and I'm using the word in the resolution, is not specifically included under the definition.
Mr. Harari, we have other people that want to come forward.
I'll
Hold
be-
on,
I'll
it's
be
my
brief,
meeting.
ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Harari, I would appreciate it.
I'll be brief.
Let you step back, let other people come.
I
I'll
will
let
be
you come
brief,
back up.
ma'am.
Mr. Harari, there are other people who
I
are
will be
here.
brief.
I'm
Again,
asking you to step
There's
away.
no evidence in the
Mr.
record
Harari, I am asking
that
you.
this is, I'll be brief,
to
ma'am,
be-
please indulge me.
No, I'm asking you, Mr. Harari, to please step back and let other individuals go, and you
Why
can
don't
come
you have
back.
the chief take me
No,
away,
Mi-
ma'am?
Mr. Harari, would
Okay, I
you please
just want to
step back?
finish. There's
Mr.
no
Harari, I
evidence
am
of-
asking, I'm going to cut the camera.
There's no
if it keeps
evidence
up.
at all
Mr. Harari,
to support the
Chief, can
the
you ask him
allegation
to please step
that
back?
this, that
Where we
this
can have the other,
is
rest of the public.
similar to professional medical offices.
You can
And
come-
should
you-
you
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 proceed?
can come back.
You can come back and finish.
You can come back and finish.
No, you can come back and
We-
finish.
You can, we're asking you just
I'll
to
have a
step
moment.
back.
I'll be one
Miss-
moment.
Miss-
Again, should
Mr.
you
Harari,
proceed with this,
do we have anybody
we will
online?
challenge you in court.
Okay, can you bring
and
them
your
forward?
decision will be
We'll
rejected.
bring them forward and you
Just
can come
like
back.
in the two
That's
decisions
fine.
by the
You
appellate
can
court.
come back. We are
Thank you.
going to
Thank you.
bring somebody from online.
Remember, I paid for your dog.
John
Okay, so who do we have?
We want to respond to that, but I have to respond.
He's just trying to build a case.
What was the name again? I didn't hear it.
So don't respond. John McCall? Oh, John McCall. All right, John?
Hold on, John, 1 second.
Good, I have to make my normal statement. It's not a meeting without you. How are you?
I'm not sure, I'm never sure whether that's honor or interrogation, but,
Oh, it's not. No, usually you laugh at it and you accept it, so if you don't want me, I won't use that again. All right, what can we do for you? We're at the public comment of, at the end of a town board meeting.
right.
Okay.
First, I wanted to express appreciation of Mr. Hubbard's opening the question and going back.
Yeah, you have to, somebody raise,
John, just give me a second, John, hold on.
Everything's up as high as we can on our side.
John, you have to get closer to your microphone on your computer so we can hear you.
1 second. Hold on.
I'm close.
John, just give me 1 second, hold on.
Is your mic volume up on your computer?
No, it's the,
No, I'm talking about John. Maybe his mic volume is not up.
about through the computer now.
Maybe there's a problem on your side, because this is normally,
How about now? John?
maybe you have someone else online.
no,
Go ahead and take.
John, do you have somebody else online that we could test the audio with?
That's what it's happy.
All right, let's try.
John, we're gonna put you on hold and see if we can get somebody up to see if it's a voice, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you, hang on, because I know you've been waiting, you know, usually a lot of times people are waiting throughout the meeting, so.
Mike? Did you bring a bag of circus peanuts?
Bag of what?
Circus peanuts?
No, sir.
Okay.
John, you can talk now.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
All right, for a couple of quickies, I just watched the last board meeting because I was out of the country at that point. First of all, I was very appreciative that you were cautious in hearing once again from these election audit people. I think it's gone to the town attorney. I think some investigation has to happen as to who they actually are and what their agenda is, because it gets weirder and weirder as they talk about what they're about. So that, second, I wanted to appreciate Mr. Hubbard's opening up the question of going back to 50-lot subdivision. That I think that's where we have to wind up after IDA hopefully turns this nonsense down and you guys declare it null and void, as you unambiguously have the right to do. I would note the other thing that Councilman Hubbard referred to is as to a potential new proposal or new variation on it, that this will be the 7th or 8th, and I think everything has to be taken with a grain of salt, if not a handful. Remember, these are the Jamaisians are the same people who have moved. They'll basically tell you what you want to hear, moving from the original Silicon Valley of the East to the green roof for school students to enjoy themselves at, to the Israeli companies that are going to solve all our problems, and then more recently to the use of the train spur, and the latest iteration of their spin is using it for a Center for Artificial Intelligence Research and Development. So whatever they come up with, remember what they've said before, and let's be very cautious about where we go with them. The last thing I wanted to say was I noted that you again, Supervisor, made the emergency declaration. And I'm sorry to see that. I hope that, as I've said before, that there would be a serious town-wide discussion of migration and the population of Riverhead that is without documentation and how that affects their lives. The other thing I wanted to say is that I saw that you approved being part of the legal defense of this declaration. It was not clear and what this is going to cost us when you said that you were authorizing the services of Lynn Gartner, Dunn, and Frigenti. I can't tell if that's already within some kind of retainer the town is paying, or whether there will be additional costs, court costs, to defend what I think is a really unfortunate and totally unnecessary artificial crisis that was created by governors in Texas and Florida shipping people to New York, and New York trying to figure out where to find them places to live. I think we've gotten played for a terrible political game with people's lives at stake, and I would hope we would take this as an opportunity to really go deeper into what Riverhead and the U.S. as a whole can and should be doing about migration. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, anyone else online?
Yeah, Kathy McGraw.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Kathy McGraw from Northville.
Good
First, an
afternoon.
observation. It seems to me that hazardous waste is more welcome in Riverhead than human beings who happen to be immigrants. New York City damaged batteries and hazardous waste has been in the town of Riverhead for more than a week. I haven't seen a state of emergency regarding this matter, which is more dangerous for the town than human beings. Second, I have a question or an observation. When a project goes to the IDA, it's supposed to be a fully developed project. And I'm curious to know how CAT can now be introducing a new plan to the IDA. They granted the application based on the plan that was presented on September 21st. I've never known the IDA to sort of have a moving target as to what the plan is they're supposed to give tax breaks to. If anybody can enlighten me on that, I'd appreciate it. Okay? Then I would like to know the status of the community benefits coming from one of the solar projects, which is the money the town is relying upon for the bathrooms at the hockey rink, and we recently learned restoration of the Navy planes at Grumman. Can you tell us whether the town has that money or when they can expect to receive that money?
Do we have Bill here, maybe Anne Marie? You're back.
The second payment, $750,000, is due and owing. The Office of the Town Attorney has sent 3 notices of demand for payment of the money. I anticipate we will receive that money any day, and if we don't, we'll take whatever action we deem appropriate to secure the funds that are due and owing.
Those are the funds in connection with NextEra, correct?
That's correct.
And then Solar 2 is still being
Solar 2
negotiated.
is still pending and in a holding pattern.
Okay. And if you don't get those money, what happens to the bathrooms at the hockey rink?
Well, just to be crystal clear, those monies, that payment, is not designated for bathrooms. That's not the way the community benefit agreement is
What?
written.
It's what Mr. Rothwell, it's where Mr. Rothwell said the money was coming from.
Well, if the town board so determines in the future upon receipt of the money that it's appropriate to spend the money in that fashion, that's their prerogative, and they will do that. But until that time,
How about the planes at Grumman? I think there was a specific mention of community benefits funds.
yes, the town board had expressed support for utilizing those funds for the planes.
But they haven't voted to do so.
That's correct. It requires a formal vote. That
Okay.
is correct.
All right, thank you very much, I appreciate it. And then one last question, I'm curious to know about the paintball lease at EPCAL. What's the status of that? Can somebody tell us?
As you're likely aware, the town board had approved a license agreement for paintball at Veterans Memorial Park. As part of that, it requires application for building permits, plot plans, et cetera. I'll have to check with planning and building staff to check on the status of that.
Okay, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank you, Town Board, for entertaining my questions and my concerns.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome. Do we have anyone, do we have other people online? Okay, that's good. So let's go back to and we'll toggle back and forth.
Good afternoon, Mike Foley, Reeves
Good
Park.
afternoon.
Yvette, is it okay if Barbara concludes her remarks before I speak?
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to continue my comments. Barbara Blast, Jamesport. These comments have to do with the County of Suffolk. They've been in violation of Federal Safe Drinking Water Act, which required them to close all of their large capacity cesspools by April of 2005. 4 of these prohibited cesspools continue to operate at Indian Island. Discharge of raw, untreated sewage to a cesspool can contaminate surface water and groundwater by releasing disease-causing pathogens and nitrates. The open waters surrounding Indian Island have had shellfishing restrictions for years due to high levels of fecal coliform attributed to unknown sources. And let's not forget, everybody always used to point to the Riverhead Sewage Treatment Plant as a major contributor here. We complied with our requirements to upgrade that system. We did the right thing to address whatever contribution that sewage treatment had been contributing to the problem. So the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District recently announced a consent judgment requiring that the county replace all of those large capacity cesspools with IA systems in a phased schedule and to pay a $200,000 civil penalty. There is an open, the proposed settlement is subject to a 30-day public comment period which ends on July 24th. If you think that perhaps the $200,000 assessment is not stiff enough, you can certainly make your feelings known to the Department of Justice. But ironically, while the county has been in violation of the EPA's orders since 2005, they are now asking residents, all of the residents of Suffolk County, to pay an additional 1/8% in sales tax to create a dedicated water quality fund, which will finance projects designed to protect and rehabilitate ground and surface waters in Suffolk. I'd filed this in the forget about what my left hand did and look at what my right hand is doing now. To me, that's really a rather ironic state of affairs. Speaking on Indian Island, I would urge you, in connection with the extension, the Patrick Halpin extension to South Hole Town through the town of Riverhead, I would urge you to hold the Suffolk County Water Authority to the most intense scrutiny that environmental law allows. All environmental assessment forms and narratives should be made available to the public, including the reasons that support Peconic Bay Boulevard as the preferred route over State Route 25. The regional growth-inducing aspects of this project are significant, and a robust community benefit agreement must be openly negotiated. I know that the project is contingent upon state legislation permitting alienation of parkland, and I would urge our state representatives to look out for the residents of the town of Riverhead in their deliberations. But Madam Supervisor and members of the board, please stand up and defend this community, protect its residents from all of those who are running over, around, under, on top of, and through our community. They're doing it because they can. Please stand up and protect our interests here in the town of Riverhead.
Thank you, Barbara. So do we have Ron Harari? Because we asked him to step back and let other people speak. Did he leave?
I think he finished.
Oh, he finished?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, if we finish, he's not here anyway, but, yeah. Okay, so you wanted to go last, Mike? So let me see if there's somebody there.
Anybody that's online is fine with me, thank you.
Okay.
Looks like he's raising his hand again.
Okay, Ron Harari's back? Okay.
Sure.
Yep. Oh, he says Squire now.
First of all, Madam Supervisor and Board, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. I apologize for the tone of my presentation, but I just want to remind the Board that this property is significant to me and my family, and I would respectfully suggest that there are a myriad of problems with the application, and you should reconsider it, consider my comments, and at the very least adjourn the matter in order for the public to comment. I think that it speaks volumes that in the resolution that has been submitted by the planning board, they can't even get the zoning right and cite my property, which is commercial in the Hamlet Center, as comparable to the rural corridor. And I think we've also pointed out in our prior correspondence that the other supposed comparables really are not comparable in any way, because as distinguished from this particular piece of property on a busy, dangerous highway where the heroic EMT Heidi Bear lost her life years ago and has become only more congested and dangerous, you need to consider traffic impacts, and reject the claim by the planning department that it is not adjacent to places of assembly. It is indeed across the street from the Il Gardino restaurant, which has scores of cars there almost every night. Across the way from the cider tasting room, also massive amount of traffic. And I would just note, and I raise it in the context of the appellate division's two very recent rulings saying proper process was not adhered to, that the claim that some holistic medical practice is equivalent to a doctor's office needs to be supported by evidence in the record. And none of that was presented at the public hearing. For these reasons, rather than have the matter reversed either at the Supreme Court level or the appellate level, I would urge the board to at least reopen the matter, have it tabled for further discussion, and to the extent there are these procedural defects, the most significant is they need to name the proper applicant, remedied, and a proper hearing be held. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harari. Apology accepted. We have to work in a more civil fashion because many people are watching and people don't like that back and forth. So anyway, I think there's somebody else before you. You said you wanted to go last, right? Toki, did you want to come forward? Oh, you go, and nobody else? Because he wants to, okay. We're trying to get you there, so that's why we do 5 minutes, and people don't have to wait continuously for hours. McAuliffe? Okay.
Well, then they should go first, no? I mean, he's already.
Yeah. Are you bringing him up, or, but Mike wants to go last, so.
Sorry, I realized after I closed that I never got an answer to the question of whether there was some either payment obligated or payment expected in order to defend the town's emergency proclamation.
It's a standard retainer agreement, Mr. McAuliffe. It's billed on an hourly basis.
So it depends on what the attorney actually does for us in that court hearing, or is that just putting your name on a piece of paper?
Well, no, they enter billing time and, you know, for various tasks that they do, and then you get a monthly invoice at the end of the month.
All right, well, if you get a specific figure on this, I think it would be very interesting to know the actual cost, because I think it was a waste of money. Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. All right.
It'll be interesting, the cost to the New York taxpayers.
Good afternoon, Mike Foley, Reeves Park. I actually, when Ron Harari left the microphone, I asked him to stick around. Because I believe when you criticize somebody, and you have the ability to do it in person, that you should do it. I find it laughable that Ron Harari didn't know how to speak properly online. Ron Harari has spoken more via Zoom than I have. And it is standard operating procedure that you raise your hand, you state your name, you state your location, and you state what you're going to speak to. So if Ron Harari just raised his hand, then he shouldn't have been recognized, because that's not the procedure that we've been following since COVID. So I just kind of find it kind of cowardly on his part that he looks to do these things through the comfort of a camera and not from this microphone. So Ron, I just wanted to say in person that if you're going to be doing this in the future, this is where you can be. Clearly, when you left this microphone, within 3 minutes, you were back in front of Zoom. So it's not like I'm 10 minutes away. You're 3 minutes away. And a resolution that was voted on today that you found so important to come up here and express your outrage after listening to it, I find laughable. Let me just get back to what I wanted to do here. Barbara Blass brought this toxic waste, hazardous waste matter to our attention. And Bob, it sounded like you're on it after you heard about it, and that's a good thing. And I don't know how, because I know the DEC kind of is the ones that oversee this. So I don't know what kind of fail-safes we could put in between us and the DEC to make sure that we never become a waste station for a final destination for something that, as Barbara deemed appropriately, is cradle to grave. There's not supposed to be any bypass. There's not supposed to be any waits. It's supposed to be a direct thing. And we know that. Certainly I know that now. I get an awful lot of education from Barbara every time I speak to her. But Bob, it sounded like you're on it now and that you've spoken to the fire people about it. And I hope when you're following up on this, Bob, that you ask what kind of possible fail-safes we could put into potentially future transportation of hazmat stuff that doesn't belong on Long Island at all. I'd like to think that every possible waste station here would know that rule and that they would act independently to enforce that rule. But I also don't know if it's possible to go back to Eastern Environmental and say, hey, if you didn't know this, you know it now and you're on notice. That if it happens again, we're going to take every action possible, punitively and compensatorially, to make this right so you never have to do it again. And again, talking about our pollution, Bob Kozakevich filed an Article 78 on CMA mines shortly before he left here. We were thankful that he did it, and unfortunately, the Supreme Court ruled that it was not considered, quote, ripe, unquote, meaning that because the DEC had not ruled on it yet, we really didn't have the standing to bring it up and to confront it as something, as people, I think, might remember, although it's almost 2 years old. This is, CMA Mines is contiguous with our closed toxic dump, and they are proposing to dig perpendicularly through the aquifer to get up more dirt or whatever else that they're mining at that place, which any rational person would say is a toxic hazard to our sole source aquifer. So Eric, I'd like to email you, but I didn't get a chance today. It's been a crazy 2 weeks, all fun. That's why we're out here with the summer and our beach party in Reeves Park.
Mike,
Eric, if there would be a way that you could possibly check with the DEC.
Mike, is that a new decision?
I'm sorry?
Is that a new decision?
The ripeness on it was, I didn't look at it because I didn't have time, but I think it was within the last year. It might have been withdrawn in March as not ripe.
That case is still pending. We still have counsel appearing on that case.
Well, that's good here because,
I
again,
think
what
it
I
was-
had read.
Mike, it was adjourned until after there was a Court of Appeals case, Sandland. It's a similar sand mining site in Southampton. And they challenged the DEC's ability to review without essentially, speaking with the local municipality and taking into consideration their zoning laws. There's a little more nuance to it than that. But our case with CMA, I believe, was adjourned based on that decision coming out and figuring out how the DEC was going to grapple with the effect of that.
Well, that's great news because certainly the Southampton case helps us.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, stop
Yes.
them from digging deep.
Yes.
My only concern now, and I know I'm out of time and I'll move quickly, is that I don't know what kind of oversight we have at this dump. I had 2 trucks on Mill or Osborne that made the turn into the dump site this morning. Rocket and rolling, they were full. So I have no idea what they had or what they didn't, but I don't know if we have any eyes on this situation. I don't know if it's because the DEC has oversight, if we have any ability to see if the DEC is doing their job. Because, clearly, the DEC didn't do their job on making sure the toxic stuff didn't get to us. So I'm just concerned that this kind of a slip-up could be permanently damaging to our sole source aquifer. Thank you. Thank you.
Mike, I have 2 comments on that. I think you're talking about, and I totally agree with you, 2 different entities. So you have the DEC, which is a public entity, and they have full control of issuing the mining permits. We don't. they don't even tell us about it. Once in a while, they'll let us. So that's one issue. The other issue is that something that I have a problem with. Nobody should dump chemicals into our town. I fully agree with you. And to say that you're gonna give somebody a second chance, they should know that if they get caught, just give them the first time. Because some of these chemicals can last for thousands of years. They can destroy, but the amount of destruction that they can do can be tremendous, especially if it's radioactive matter. We can't go into that area for 10,000 years. And some, if you have like a cesium-32 cobalt nuclear matter. So, and there are ways, if we find that somebody dumps and we identify that person, there can be summonses and it can be legal action. So let's see where we go. Somebody did something, if we revealed it, people on top of it, the board's on top of it, Bobby's on top of it, you're expressing interest. So let's see where it goes, because I think we're gonna see a little bit more development on that.
Thank you.
Oh, we have Assemblywoman Jody Gagnon with us today. Oh, she'll be next.
Good afternoon, Talkie Turchin, Greater Calverton Civic Association President. I have a letter here from a resident I'd like to read to you. It should fit within your 5-minute rule. Riverhead's wake-up call. It's time to reclaim our democracy and respect. The grim reality is that we have been accepting a harsh truth for far too long. There's a corrosive undercurrent of contempt and disregard running through the corridors of this town hall. And it's been poisoning the very roots of our democratic process. The people of Riverhead are not just spectators in a political drama. They are the essential characters whose lives are shaped by the decisions made on their behalf. They are the lifeblood of the community, the ones who pay the taxes and live with the consequences. But for some unfathomable reason, the role they have been forced into is of the bystanders whose voices are muffled, whose concerns are dismissed, and whose presence is seen as an inconvenience. Elected officials, by their very definition, are chosen by the public to represent the public. The critical word here is represent, a term that means to have lost its weight and meaning amongst the haughty echoes of the town board's chambers. They are not monarchs gracing us with their rule. They are public servants. Yes, servants. Their duty is to listen, understand, and act on the collective will of the community they serve. It's time to remind them of their roles. The indignities residents have been subjected to during public meetings are not only discourteous, they're abominable. It's not a matter of decorum anymore. It's a matter of basic human respect. When a concerned citizen is belittled, ignored, or insulted, the damage goes beyond that individual. The whole community suffers. The very concept of representative democracy suffers. Moreover, it appears that the town board has engaged in a disturbing dance with developers, changing codes and disregarding public sentiment for projects that hold questionable benefit for Riverhead. This kind of unchecked favoritism raises serious concerns about the underlying motives of our elected officials and their actual commitment to the community's welfare. It's their allegiance to the people, is it? Or to the developers with the deepest pockets? The incident in the June 21st meeting is a grotesque caricature of what public service should be. It's the canary in the coal mine, a clear sign that we need a change in leadership. The affected officials who sit silently while their colleague bullies concerned citizen are just as culpable. Their silence is complicity, and their complicity is an effort to the ideals, an affront to the ideals of democratic governance. Enough is enough. It's time we clean house, reclaim the respect, dignity, and representation that we, the citizens of Riverhead, rightfully deserve. The board has had their chance, and they're shown us their true colors. It's time to paint a new picture of what our town's leadership should look like. A picture filled with respect, understanding, and an unwavering commitment to serve the public interest. I wish I had written this letter. Mr. Robert Gass did of Calverton. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your opinion, and anyone else want to come forward? Oh, that's it.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and members of the board, Town Clerk, and Town Attorney. It's good to be back in Riverhead and to see you all. I'm back for 10 days, and I'm back for the summer. Session does not start again until January. So I wanted to let you know that my office door will always be open to you if you should need anything. We do communicate on a regular basis. And also I was listening to the town board meeting, because I sometimes do that, listen and watch more often. And I know that there is concern about the Suffolk County Water Authority project and the alienation of parkland at Indian Island Park, where they are proposing to go under the Peconic Estuary into Indian Island Park and propose a booster station to go through Riverhead to get to Southold to provide water service to the residents of Southold. So I have had conversations with all of you and with former Councilman Member Blass, and also the Peconic Estuary Program, including the Group for the East End, and most importantly, the Suffolk County Water Authority, Legislator Al Krupski, Assemblyman Fred Thiel, and Supervisor Scott Russell. This is a big concern to me. I have had a bill drafted for me to file a home rule for alienation of parkland by my fellow assemblymen on the other fork. And I am not filing that bill until I get something from Suffolk County that says that they want to alienate Indian Island Park and turn it into, or a portion of it, a pump station to provide water. There's also a problem because they are going under the guise of a type 2 action under SECRA, where water distribution they consider not to be studied under SECRA. But the damage to the roads and to the lives of the constituents in the town of Riverhead and Jamesport Aquabog is a concern of yours. And as the town who is going to be having most of this pipeline built through your town, I believe that you have the power to be lead agency and to study the impact of what this type of development would do in the town of Riverhead. So I will not be filing a bill for alienation of home rule until we have a meeting. I have requested a roundtable with the Suffolk County Water Authority, the town of Riverhead, the town of Southold, and Assemblyman Fred Thiel, and also, if I hadn't said it already, Suffolk County Legislator Al Krupski. So hopefully we'll be having that meeting soon. I thank the supervisor for agreeing to host the meeting here in Riverhead to make it convenient for all of us. And I hope to have that roundtable soon. I know the dates that were originally July 24th and August 11th, which Assemblyman Thiel cannot make. So I know that they're scheduling for another date, but I think that this is an issue that we need to discuss immediately and have an open public forum with a town hall to hear the concerns of the residents once we know what the plan is.
Right, and I agree. I know I haven't spoken to you about it, but me and Suffolk County Water last month was setting up a meeting, and then you asked to come on, which I welcome it, and thank you for doing that. So today they got a second date in August. So we are going to pick the dates, and we're going to host it here. And I believe, can you check with Joanne what date, Devin? I think we sent them a date that was amenable to them. It's in August, I guess, because
yeah, it was supposed to be August 11th, but I guess Assemblyman Thiel can't make it that date. But, you know, he is, it's not really affecting Southold as much as it is Riverhead and Suffolk County. So we should move forward with that meeting, because Southold will be benefiting from it. And Assemblyman Thiel did draft the bill, and Suffolk County Water Authority sent it to me for the alienation of the parkland. So I have asked to hold off on the filing of that bill.
So we got a date. I think it's gonna take off on that day, because that was the date they gave us.
Okay.
And so I'm sure, you know, as soon as we hear that, they confirm with us, we're gonna make sure you guys, but thank you for coming here.
Yes, very good.
And for placing interest in this important matter.
Yes.
Okay, we gave, okay, so it's just a matter, by Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have a date. Thank you.
Okay, and I will be making a phone call to the New York State DEC to see what they're doing about that hazardous material that was brought into
Yes,
the town
because
of
if
Riverhead.
there's a violation, we should pursue it.
Thank you.
And that's something that we can, and Mike, that's very common, that we locate somebody who violates, it's dumping, it's called, it no matter whatever it is, that if you find a person, that you can make that person responsible. And the cleanup, there's no reason why we have to pay for that. And if we have to now go test the soil and, excavate, and we don't know the extent of this, it's still new, then they have to be held responsible for that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you for coming.
Frank Mancini, could you step up? I have a couple questions on
I
a
think
little
the
bit.
chief has been patiently waiting to speak too.
Oh, I'm sorry. By all means, go ahead.
Is it?
Yeah, Chief,
Chief, did you want to come up?
you guys can fight over it.
You want to go last?
Just a DEC update, I spoke to them by the phone. According to them, their permit allows them to transport this material and allowed to store it for 10 days. Or hold it, they said hold it for 10 days. So regardless, they'll be on site tomorrow with our fire marshals, and we'll go over everything, we'll have a definitive answer tomorrow.
Do we know if it's being held in a proper container or a proper environment?
As far as I know, it is. It's in a container that's kind of in a pit supposedly to protect it. So I haven't seen it myself, but as I say, we'll be on site tomorrow to inspect it.
So, but Chief, they are gonna, it's not here permanently at all, from what my understanding.
Not at all. As far as I know, the destination is Connecticut,
That's what.
final destination.
It shouldn't be here at all. I completely agree with you, and I just,
Well, who okayed for it to be here? Somebody had to say,
Their
you can take
permit
it there.
allows them to hold it for 10 days.
Is it a certain facility that
Their
approved by the
permit is, he
DEC?
just said it, they're allowed to hold it for 10 days. So he felt that they were permitted to do it, but tomorrow we'll have a definitive answer.
Okay.
So we need to look at that permit, because the town would be making that permit, correct?
No, DEC.
No,
DEC.
so we have
I
no jurisdiction
I could
as well.
understand,
Well,
people
we
have
have
permits to
jurisdiction
move.
over their use permit
Okay.
for the
Right.
property.
People have permits to move something. Where you store it is another issue. And that's our concern. Do you have a right to take this container that you had a right to move, but doesn't mean that you have a right to store it in Matterville?
10 days.
10 days they have.
10
They
days.
have, and
permits to
that,
hold it
that
for
area is designated for 10 days to put
All he
that?
told me is that they have, their permit allows them to hold it for 10 days.
But is it see, everybody's missing the point. Is it that area? That's what we're saying. That physical area.
Tomorrow-
They're not allowed to come to the town parking lot, and even though they're legally able to put it in a container, just drop it here for 10 days. And that's really what I'm trying to get to.
Tomorrow we'll know for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thanks,
follow-up,
Chief.
Chief. Anyone else?
Mr. Mancini, regarding the water that Suffolk County Water Authority wants to dig up half of our east side and run pipes out to Southold, is there any way they could pump water through our existing lines and get that water out to Southold?
Well, we have an
That we
interconnection
could
with
make a
them.
little money off of, maybe?
Yeah, so when I got here, and everyone was saying, oh, Riverhead has this capacity issue, and I ran Riverhead and I learned that we're a pretty strong system. And I would say, well, if we had such a problem, in the last 3 previous years, we've sold Suffolk County Water more water on the east end through our interconnection than we've purchased for them on the west. So we're not that weak. After saying that, they stopped using that interconnection and haven't taken a gallon from it since then. So, I mean, that's their operational decisions, but we could certainly provide them some water through our interconnection, and in past agreements where we've tried to work out deals between us, they had asked for 1.3 million gallons on the east, on that interconnection commitment, which would be the capacity of one well, and if we develop our system correctly, we could do that. In fact, we installed a valve to enable that, where we'll move water from the high zone and dump it into that area where the booster is. but they've not approached us or not pursued that in any way, but it is possible and perhaps a way we could sort of,
Well, it's certainly something we need to discuss at the
Yeah.
meetings here that we have, because to run a water line, water pipe from Flanders under the river, through the river, however they're gonna do it.
And Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think South Holton really is all that happy about it either.
well, I'm not going
I
to
might
get
be
it, that
wrong,
is a political issue, but I can speak to the technical end of that. The 1.3 million that they had requested in the past is roughly the capacity of one well, 1,200 gallons a minute. They're planning for 6,000 gallons a minute through this larger pipes, just to give you an idea how much volume that is. But that's not, that's going to be a political battle of the ages, you know, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But I'm here, you know, I'll be as involved as you guys want me to be.
Well, we're gonna have this meeting, and if they actually reach out to us, and I had put word out that, you know, I was interested in finding out what's going on, and Bacorny reached out to me and said, I wanna give you an update. But it seems like it keeps on getting push and push and push, and then they're adding a lot of people. Okay, it's nice to have a lot of people, but we need to know here in the town before the project starts. So hopefully that they sent out to everyone is gonna work out, and we get this meeting done as soon as possible.
I think
We don't
so.
want them starting construction and then all of it.
Well, it's a $35 million project. I don't know where they're getting the money, and I think what you guys are doing is appropriate. I think what Assemblyman Giglio's doing is appropriate.
Yeah, that's right.
Because this has been in the works since 2006, and it's a large project,
So
and it impacts a tremendous amount of people.
usually when somebody comes into your town and breaks up pipes and they want to expand, Suffolk County Water, shouldn't they be paying
They're
a
gonna
cost?
pay for it in some way.
Well,
Well,
there's potential for something like
They should be paying
that.
something to the town, and it's not, it's a relatively good amount of funds for utilizing and disturbing and breaking up our roads and directing traffic, and so we need to know the full extent
Yes.
of that project. So, again, let's get this meeting going, they know we want it, we're holding it here. We have a lot of support, let's see the extent of this project, because, you know, we're gonna have to do some homework on that.
Yeah, and I think Anne Marie brought up the best point in that. In most of these cases, the communities that are impacted benefit from that work. But in this particular case, the town of Riverhead, and particularly the residents of Jamesport, there's no benefit to them.
No, not at all.
So that's where this is different from other water main jobs that they do and other districts do, and that's what's unique about this particular one.
Do they want that as bad as we want water up at EPCAL?
Well, that's a question we might want to ask them. You know, I think that's going to be probably in this discussion. You know.
Thank you, Frank.
All right.
Thank you, Frank. Anyone else want to come forward? Anyone online? No. The board, anyone? Good?
What event was this weekend?
I was just gonna say the parade, the firefighters.
That's what it was. That's
Yes,
what it was, the
so-
fire drill and parade for
Yeah.
the fire department.
Yeah, the fire department is going, actually, we should put it online.
Yes.
Yes, for everybody to get the details. They have like 4
Saturday
events.
morning from 9:30 to
Devin
12:30.
has details. Where's Devin?
It starts at 10, the road is gonna be closed down. Okay. And they go from the circle roughly, south on Roanoke through the circle up to Mill Road, correct?
They're lining up on Roanoke, so Roanoke's gonna be shut down too.
Roanoke will be the staging area.
And then they're gonna come out and go west on 58 up to,
The Armory?
Yeah, so there's 4 events. It's like the traditional anniversary fire department, then there's like a drill, then there's like a Suffolk County drill also. There's like 4 events going on. It's all collapsed together. So, looks like it's gonna be a nice day, and hopefully everyone can make it.
It's a,
is that 10, steer clear of that area.
right.
Yeah.
Why? Traffic is fun.
It'll move as fast as it does now, chief, come on.
Yeah.
It's on a Saturday
Good
though.
bit worse.
Saturday in the summer, so
I'll get my flying car out.
That's what it was.
should be a lot of fun. Okay, so hearing no one, I'm gonna close this meeting. Can I have a first and a second?
So moved.
Close this town board meeting.
Motion, second.
Okay, all opposed, all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
So move, everyone be safe, and I hope you get to enjoy our summer activities and so,
Hey, Mike?